What's going on, y'all? My name is Cree. I have a webcam. I have a microphone. I have an opinion. The Odion cards are like somewhat real. Now, the Odion cards got revealed in Maze of the Master. They are more or less strung together by this card right here, Temple of the Kings. This is an older card. You can activate one trap card during the set, and then the rest of it is irrelevant because we're not playing Mystical Piece of Circuit. Unfortunately, nothing that was revealed is treated as having that name, which would have been really, really cool. But Konami doesn't mess with us like that. So, it all revolves around everything mentioning this in its text, kind of like how Blue Eyes and Dark Magician work. That seems to be on point for the Legacy support, but it actually is pretty cool. So, let's get into the new stuff. We have the Man with the Mark. It discards normal or special summon. You can take a Temple of the Kings or a spell trap that mentions it, add it to or from your deck, and either add it to your hand or pitch it to the grave. And then while you control Temple of the Kings, this card and the Apophis monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Temple of the Kings you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. So they can banish it with Cosmic Cyclone, MTP07, but it can't pop it with Detonator, which is pretty cool. He's the only new card in this archetype that searches a spell or trap that mentions Temple of the Kings. Granted, there's only one trap. In my testing with messing around with engines and stuff, he is one of. Being a level 4 spellcaster means, I guess, technically you could play this with Blue Eyes, but like, why would you play this with Blue Eyes? Granted, you can use this to go into like the Magistus Link 1 or something if you really need to make an SP Little Knight, but I think leaving him on board is pretty effective. Alright, Merciless Scorpion of Circuit. Cannot be normal summon or set, must be special summoned from your hand by banishing a level 10 or higher monster from your hand or deck while you control the Temple of the Kings. It's a once per turn special summon. And then during your main phase, you can add the Temple of the Kings or a spell that mentions it from your deck to your hand. At the start of the damage step, if this guy battles an opponent's monster, you can destroy that opponent's monster. If you do, this card gains attack equals half the original destroyed monster's attack. We're using this for searching, and we're using this for like super poly. Because they do get an in-archetype super poly, which is kind of nuts. Just like the other dude, this is a one of. You only really ever need to summon this one time because you're only ever banishing one level 10 or higher monster from your main deck or your hand if you unfortunately draw it. So there is some synergies there, but other than that, he's just kind of chilling. He's there. Anubis the Last Judge. Cannot be normal summon or set, must be special summon from your hand or graveyard where you have 3 or more cards in your graveyard with different names that are either Temple of the Kings or trap cards by placing 2 of them on the bottom of the deck in any order. So what this means is, if you have 3 cards in your graveyard, and they're all either trap cards, or one of them is Temple of the Kings, or all 3 of them are Temple of the Kings, put 2 of them on the bottom of your deck, beam them out. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard for cost, add 1 the Man with a Mark from your deck to your hand, and if a spell or trap card you control is destroyed by a card effect, target a card your opponent controls, destroy it. So, he's anti-pop. Well, he is, you pop me, I'll pop something of yours. He doesn't really do anything as an endboard piece. He's just kind of like, he's basically just a search tutor that does things while he's on the board, which is alright. I do play, I am playing 3 of this in testing just because getting to the Man with the Mark, you only have to play 1 Man with the Mark if you're playing 3 Anubis. But I mean, I guess you could play 3 Man, 3 Anubis, 3 Field Spell, but then you just have less room for non-engine, which is not what I want in this deck. But yeah, he's alright, I guess. He's 3000 beat stick. Next we have Treasures of the Kings. This is the field spell. When this card is activated, you set an Apophis card, or an Apophis trap from your deck, and it becomes Temple of the Kings. I don't know why my webcam is bugging out. And it becomes Temple of the Kings while it's in the field zone. Once per turn, which is important for like other card effects like Man with the Mark. Then you have 2 or more set cards on your field or a trap card in your graveyard. You could search for a monster that mentions Temple of the Kings, which is going to be Anubis, Circuit, and Man with the Mark. 9 times out of 10, I'm using this to search Anubis to get to Man with the Mark. Or if I already have access to Man with the Mark, I'm just grabbing Circuit to banish Winged Dragon or Raw. Up next is Defense of the Temple. This is like a go second card. Fusion summon the Earth, fusion monster from your extra deck, use a monster from your hand or field. If you have a monster, if you use a monster you control that mentions Temple of the Kings, you get the Super Volley. If you control Temple of the Kings, you banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 Dangers of the Divine from your deck to your hand. Dangers of the Divine, alright, so this is alright. It's a one-of just because you can see it, and it's decent for breaking boards, but it's a brick. And then Dangers of the Divine, pay half, tribute to monsters, beam out Winged Dragon of Raw from your... beam out Winged Dragon of Raw from your hand or banishment, ignoring its summoning conditions, and make its attack and defense 4,000, but cannot attack. Also during the end phase of the next turn, returns to the hand. Brick City, baby. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, choose 1 Winged Dragon of Raw in your monster zone. Send all other monsters on the field to the graveyard. This is not optional, so when you are using this, you're using this as a board wipe that is non-destroying, and then you're just chilling with a 4,000 beat stick. So it's okay. I mean, you search it with the damn. You search it with defense, grab dangers, and then you're there. It's all right. It's just a way to utilize the Winged Dragon of Raw and mass removal. Verdict of Anubis. This thing is the best card of the bunch because it's completely generic. When your opponent activates a spell or trap card while you control 3 or more other spells and traps, negate the activation if you do destroy that card. And then on top of that, if you control Temple of the Kings, you can destroy as many monsters your opponent controls as possible, then burn them for half the total attack of all the destroyed monsters. It's a hard once per turn, but it is a strong hard once per turn. I could see this thing being splashed into like lab decks and stuff, and then you could just use the Man with the Mark generically to just search this, set 4 other cards past. Like it's, ooh, this is probably going to be the most impactful card of the bunch. And then up next, Apophis the Servant. It's a trap monster. It comes out as a normal monster, then you immediately set an Apophis trap card from your deck, except for this card's name. It can be activated this turn, which works really well, and my webcam is still bugging out. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add in the bottom of the Apophis from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Apophis Servant once per turn. So realistically, I'm in testing. I use Apophis the Servant to set Swamp Deity, and then activate Swamp Deity, and then we're going to tag out into the fusions, which I'm going to get into, and just get the embodiment out of the deck so we have 1 less brick. Just because like having all 3 of these, like once you have all 3 of these in rotation, like all of these are one-ofs in the deck, just because you could shuffle them back with Anubis. Having all 3 of them in rotation is really nice because of the fusion monsters. First, we have Divine Scorpion Beast of Circuit. I probably should have ordered these differently, but here we are. Which is a circuit monster and a monster with 2,500 or less attack. All we really care about is his removal. If he's special summon or at the start of the damage step, if it battles, you can start to face a monster your opponent controls or in their graveyard, banish it. And if you do, this card gains attack you with a half the banished monster's original attack. And then this guy can attack twice while level 10 or higher monster is banished. So you only get 1 banishment per turn, so summon, banish something, and then you do not get an additional banish on attacking, which kind of sucks. But he's already a 3,000 beat stick. Fairy Earth Fusion level 6, kind of crazy, but I think given the power level of the deck, I think it's fair. They could have made it better, but like we'll take what we can get. Divine Serpent Apophis. this is arguably the better fusion, just because it's a better end board piece in my testing. It's just 2 monsters that mention Temple of the Kings. You have to fusion summon it, or you could just beam them out by tributing 2 Apophis monsters, which, you know, the new trap immediately gets you another Apophis body, so we're getting him out pretty safely. Once per turn, you can target up to 3 Apophis traps with different names in your graveyard and set them. Once per turn, if a trap card is activated, except during the damage step, you can target a card your opponent controls, destroy it. So you can see the synergy there. It's not that hard to see. So a lot of people are talking about mixing this up with Labyrinth, which I think is fine. A lot of people are also talking about mixing this up with Aggro Stars, which makes sense. Wow, my webcam really sucks. Which makes sense because, you know, the Aggro Stars are all continuous trap cards, but you're just going to clog up your back row so much. I think Labyrinth is like the least offensive when it comes to clogging up your back row, just because you're realistically just playing the Labyrinth engine. In my findings, I'm really liking this stuff with Eldritch. Granted, you are clogging up your back row, but like Eldritch being able to clear your back row as well to bring himself back and just be a level 10 beater, pretty good. I do have some sample deck lists. So this is a quick Labyrinth deck list. As you can see, the engine is just 3 Anubis, 1 Circuit, 1 Man with a Mark, 1 Raw, 3 Treasures, 1 Defense, 1 Temple, 1 Divine, whatever. 3 Anubis. This build had 3 Apophis. You can cut it down to 2, or cut it down to 1, just to save on the non-engine slots, and then you get to play like an additional 2 Ariane, or you can cut like whatever of these. I don't know. It's up to you. It's early testing, dude. Like y'all could figure that out. This is just, I'm just making sample shit. Then we have the Aerostar build. This is going to be more floodgatey. Again, cut Apophis to 1. Cut Apophis to 1 for more non-engine. Do whatever you want with the extra deck. I really like. And then we have Eldritch. Obviously, Apophis to 1. But the rest of the engine is what you see here. So, with that being said, y'all, this has been Kree. As far as where I am putting this Odion stuff, I think it could definitely get an invite at a regional, just because the end board is like decent, because like it has a pop, it has protection that's really annoying, it has the Verdict of Anubis or whatever, the counter trap, just to mess up anything your opponent does, with the added bonus of clearing their board, which is really funny. But all in all, is it worth picking up for resale price? No. Just wait for the sets drop. This stuff's going to be cheap. I think, like, if anything, you can pick up 3 Verdict of Anubis and then splash them into any of the decks I just mentioned, and then call it a day. And then you just get to play Temple of the Kings, which is a really, really cool card. But with that being said, y'all, this has been Kree. This has been the threat assessment of Odion cards from Maze of the Master. Like the video if you found today's content entertaining, informative, or helpful in any way, shape, or form. Subscribe if you have not already. Comment down below if you want me to cover anything else from Maze of the Master. I might look at the ABC stuff or XYZ stuff, whatever, Kybit shit. Trick stars, I do not care about. With that being said, y'all, until next time, have a good time.